Are we up yet? Okay, we're up.
There we go.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. What you have in your packet is the latest version of the budget. We did include money for 3 new computers, as we discussed last time. The replacement of 2 AC units inside and out, if should that occur in the budget cycle. I did look at the permit tech range. I have loaded in, I'm requesting a 5% merit increase available. I'm not suggesting a range adjustment. We're actually very high end on permit tech. We asked Sherry to do a lot more than that, but we're within range on that one. We've also loaded in a plug number to hire a new chief in the new fiscal year. And it also includes the increased salaries for officers. What I sent out on Friday, that number was run on $73,000 basically for our lowest officer. Our lowest paid officer would be at 73. What you have in your packet is what I have here is 74,000
For the lowest paid.
for the lowest paid. And that still leaves. Sorry, hang on 1 second. Yeah, if you'll drive, get me down to the balance remaining, please. A little more, one more. Okay. And the mayor and I have talked about this. The reason we have landed on 74,000 for, again, the lowest paid officer is partially one, the data I provided to you on what other area agencies are paying. It's substantially more than what we had proposed originally. So we've gotten a lot of new information in the last week, which is what's caused us to make this recommendation. Agencies we're competing with, not all of them handle payroll like we do. So for 74,000 for the lowest officer, we start paying overtime at 80 hours in a pay period. Double Oak, for example, will not pay overtime until you exceed 84 hours in a pay period.
It's every 2 weeks,
So our officers are guaranteed another $6,000 to $7,000 that's already in the budget from our, before as overtime. So again, we feel like we're really competitive with that. I've talked to Sergeant Scudder, and we just feel like if we don't want to lose the officers we have now, it's going to be it's expensive, but important decision to reward those guys who are here and keep them on staff. So that is all loaded into the budget, and it still shows 51,851 as available, if you will, if you wanted to just drop that down, or if there's something else you wanted to put that towards. That's really it. This budget has everything in it we've discussed, and I'll answer any questions you may have and leave it to y'all to discuss.
My thoughts on specifically police salaries. The information you sent out, Thad, Double Oak's at 75 plus 12% for performance. Argyle's at 72.5 for 4 to 7 years experience, 75 for 8+ years. Copper Canyon's at 77. Those are our contemporary cities. Trophy Club's lower. Corinth is at 77. Flower Mound's at 83. Those are cities with a lot bigger budgets than we have. It's not much more money. My thought process is we set ours at 75. We're not lower range. We're kind of in the middle, the thick of it, for an extra $1,000 an officer.
Do we have anything because I think we addressed this at the last or 2 years ago. We were talking about the overtime. And do we have any way of capturing over the last, say, 8 months to a year as to what that overtime on an 80-hour work week we end up paying?
Through the year, we track that, and that was part of our budget documents, the tables that I use, and it's been about 120 hours that they've gotten overtime in the year,
I
and
thought
that's
that
cost
was-
about $5,000 to $6,000.
That includes.
That's the collective
scheduled-
force.
That, yes,
That includes the scheduled 4 hours of overtime.
yes,
that
because
they
they're
receive
scheduled
every
4
2
hours
weeks.
of overtime every pay period. Now, if they start taking vacation, because now all of our officers have been here a while, we'll have to start working with that component of them looking to take a vacation. That's the only thing that affects that overtime. So if you're taking vacation days, you don't get that automatic 4 during that period.
I was looking,
Go ahead, Matt.
I was looking at those numbers that you sent on OC. If you start with 74, I mean, you're only looking at $1,000 a year, but if you look at 5 officers, you're looking at $5,000.
And that was gonna be my question, is that it's not $1,000, it's not even $5,000 a year, because we're using $1,000 at the lowest paid officer, and then we're using percentage increases to maintain or reduce compression across it up to our sergeant, right?
Yes. So plugging that in, if we go all the way across, the sergeant would move to 86, 951. We have an officer who will be at 78 as well. So again, that keeps that same separation they're at now
Percentage based.
on a
increase, right?
percentage basis to avoid, I mean, and I've had to talk to Scudder about the compression. He's okay right now. But again, you're starting to see that compression if we keep doing more of that without a bigger adjustment on the top.
Well, the double oak works 8 hours a month more than our officers, and that's included in their salary. Is that correct? 4 per pay period,
The 8 hours?
8 total for the month. So it'd be extra 4 hours every 2 weeks.
Double?
Yeah.
No, they were 84, it's just. Like
84 per 2 weeks.
yes.
So that's an extra 8 hours a month.
No, it's the same hours, but they're not getting a time and a half on that extra 4. So they work the same 84-hour 2-week shift. Our guys are getting 4 hours of overtime. Theirs is still 4 hours of straight time
Right.
during that period.
So I guess what I was trying to get to is, so they're working 84 hours every 2 weeks. And our guys are working 80 every 2 weeks, but they get paid overtime from 80 to 84. Right.
Right.
Gotcha. Or time and a half.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So they make, okay.
So to make it apples, to apples, our guys are making 5,000-6,000 more because of the
Right, yeah.
overtime.
So they're actually,
So that gets it apples to apples.
Yeah, so when you look at your numbers on 74, it really washes out, and our guys are really doing having a better opportunity because they get the time and a half.
Okay.
not to mention every hour over that 80 point for anything else that we
Right.
have in town.
And they
Whatever they're
generally work 84 every 2 weeks. I mean,
It's scheduled no matter what, because it's 4 hour shifts. They
Okay.
work. The only time you don't work 84 is say like sick time or vacation, then it'll just be 80 because we don't get overtime.
Okay.
So really that washes out.
So that I have one more question.
ma'am.
You said that usually works out to about $7,000 more a year. in
Yes.
The so that's in addition to their salary.
Yes, and we also have, and I'm guessing most of the agencies do. I did not ask Sergeant Scudder. He put a lot of this together for me on a quick basis, and I really appreciate his effort. We have certification pay that's also loaded in. That's up to $1,800 a year more. So again, it does stack on. These guys are doing a fantastic job, but again, that's not to go against council at all. It's just, that's why we landed at 74 and not another number during the process.
Total comp is still comparative.
Total,
right?
that's what,
In fact,
we're looking at total compensation and what we have going here as opposed to what they have going.
Fine to stay at the 74 with the calculations. When we look at total comp for us in comparable
I
markets.
just want to
think
throw it out for discussion.
Absolutely.
Anything else is loaded in here, Mayor. If y'all have any other questions, I'm here to answer, but
Anything else?
No, I
That
don't
was it.
think so.
And then the 5% for Sherry.
yes, that is loaded in there as well for the permit tech.
Okay. All good.
Good.
Cool. Thank you.
Again, Mayor, I'm sorry. I apologize. I know you're getting, I wanted to thank Sergeant Scudder again. I mean, the guys really pulled together very quickly and because we were going into budget with not enough information to be able to give you all the full picture and allow you all to make the decisions that you needed to make.
You presented was great. It was
Yes.
very valuable. So thank
for
you.
Pulling that together and all the work you've done in the last week. Appreciate it. Number 2, receive updated proposed amendments to the town of Bartonville fence ordinance. Ed,
Okay, we're working on it. That's the short end answer, but a little more detail to explain why it's taking work. And that is when the legislature enacted Senate Bill 929, that was a new provision that addresses non-conforming uses. And what cities now in Texas have to do whenever there's a zoning ordinance change that changes a boundary or a use under the zoning code. The reason has come to my mind is because some people have, like Bartonville, fence ordinance provisions in the zoning ordinance. But fences are not uses, fences are structures. And so what I'm working on is to modify the town's ordinances so that the fence ordinance provisions are removed from the zoning ordinance and put into chapter 3, the building provisions, as a new chapter there, so that they're not going to be deemed to be any kind of a use. It keeps it cleaner by separating fences whenever we change the ordinance provisions from being argued as you're changing a use and now you're going to have to pay me for it. Because Senate Bill 929 changed the landscape on non-conforming uses in Texas so that there's no longer an amortization process or a way to have a city phase out certain uses if the ordinance changes and they're no longer allowed. And so it changes how that operates. And so to frankly avoid getting mixed up in all that, I want to move and recommending moving the fence provisions out of the zoning ordinance into the regular code. So, and then in the meantime, on the details of the zoning of the fence ordinance provisions, Thad and I are working on those. And so we'll have to get that noticed, because right now, whenever you make a change in the zoning ordinance, you've got to do the notice ahead of time and all that kind of stuff. So we have to get it all set up and then get it noticed. And then that'll be the last time we have to mess with fence ordinance provisions whenever we want to change them in the zoning ordinance, number one. Number two, then it'll be easier to administer, we think, in the regular town code. Okay, so that's a little rationale behind it. And then on the details of it, we will first have to meet again with the Planning and Zoning Commission, because we're taking that out of the zoning. And so we got to go through that hoop before we bring it here for y'all. So that's what's working on there. Did you want to add anything? Okay. So that's it on the fence.
thank you. Number 3, receive update. Did you make any questions on the fencing thing? Okay. Number 3, receive update of proposed amendments to town of Bartonville shot clock ordinance. Ed?
Again, the Texas legislature likes to play around with rules that affect cities in Texas. And so back in 2019, they made some changes that were to try to make it a little easier for developments and plats and site plans and everything to get pushed through cities. As it turned out, it didn't really work that way. And so the legislature changed the law again in House Bill 3699 to say that we're going to change the rules regarding the 30-day time period. Shot clock is a reference to the 30-day time period it takes for in state law for plats to be approved by a municipality after they're filed. It took away the ability for cities to redefine what being filed means and makes it simpler, and just refers to it as filling out an application with the information requested and paying the appropriate fee. And so once that happens, then plats have a 30-day time period by which they either need to be approved, denied, or middle. And so the interesting part about the state law change is that it separated site plans and other plans from plats. so that the 30-day time period only works for plats. And for site plans and other things that really take a lot more thought, work, maneuvering, negotiating, fixing. For site plans like that, there's no longer a 30-day shot clock. You just work it out through regular processes, which actually makes it easier. The other thing about the 30 days on a plat, though, is that the state law put back in the ability to agree with the applicant to postpone another, have successive 30-day time periods if it's proven difficult for the plat to actually get drawn up and to get drawn. And so it had been since 2019, you only get one maybe free pass to postpone it for 30 days. Now you can do it as much as necessary. And so there's no harm in that. And so that actually makes it a little administratively easier. Additionally, the new law also allows for the council to designate a town official to be able to either approve or deny a plat if the 30-day time period is coming up fast. And so in that way, there's not going to be any kind of a gotcha if it has to be utilized, and it allows you to do that. So all that means is I've got work to do on changing y'all's ordinances to reflect all this and to comply with state law.
Just because they file a plan, you have 30 days to take action, doesn't have to approve it. Dad can say, I don't have enough information.
Yeah, they can try to work it out with them
Okay,
and maybe get another 30-day agreement with them
okay.
and see if there's something there. But the whole idea is really not to play a gotcha. But if you've got a developer who's not really very friendly, then you have some remedies that you can avoid getting stuck with something you don't really intend to be stuck with. Sure.
Or you get a really bad engineer, which we've had before. But the negotiation for the 30 days is actually great because they have an option of, we can agree to the 30-day extension, or I can just go ahead and have either I can deny it if y'all decide to approve that, or we can run it to P&Z and they'll deny it. And then you'll have to, begin that process again. So that's a good add back because that worked very well for years.
Okay. So we'll be seeing that coming up, those changes to the ordinance. So there's a third one I'll be changing. It's not on the agenda, but the non-conforming use provisions also dovetails into modifying those too. There'll probably be 3 ordinances coming up.
I'm being 6:18 during the workshop. Let's take a 5-minute break. Do we have anything else?
I was going to ask if you would do that because I don't know if Councilmember Sams has the new financials.
Yeah, I was gonna take a 5-minute break and then we could start the meeting.
Good.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine. Yep. You have a 10-minute.
Yeah,
That gray thing is that.
looks like it.
We were talking about that.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
What was that?
Oh,
You had financials, they weren't in your pack.
No. Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. Well, okay.
Y'all had a service truck pulled over to rent it. By my house. Yeah, they're on this line.
That's what I thought. Somebody turned him on.
I'm wrong.
He's been blinking a minute.
So
Okay.
when he blinks, does that mean it's on?
John Hancock.
Yeah.
Okay. When he blinks, does that mean it's on?
No, when the lights are.
This
So
meeting
is
today
it on?
may not be.
No, I don't want to hear that.
Another person.
Wow.
Right.
Keep on coming. We need it.
That's why you have left there.
I had the house.
I left the windows down on my old truck because I didn't think it would rain.
Oh, no.
Thank you. That was great.
I don't care. I didn't think it would rain.
Thanks to all the effort.
I've got to the point where
You
it
know,
does
this
not
will
rain
start
here.
notice and you just keep on putting one foot in front of the other.
Yes, sir.
You're doing a great job. Really thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Appreciate it. Yeah.
What?
Oh, you're welcome. Sure. Thanks for coming.
He's a good one. I just wish he had more experience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I tell you, his mind.
All right, you can read that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He said, I rolled the windows up on the car.
Look at how it's coming down.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you this before. and I never
You
got a
couldn't see it
chance.
on the white car, but now that black car. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I get it, he might have stuff to do with it.
At 6:24, call the regular council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
participation. If you'd like to speak to the council, please fill out the form and hand it to Shannon. Please indicate on the form if you wish to speak during the discussion on a specific agenda item. Remember, council members are not allowed to answer questions during the public participation. Please state your name and address for the record. I don't think anybody wants to speak. Okay. Appointed liaison representatives. Town administrator, monthly report, August 2023, financial. Police, animal control, code enforcement, engineering, municipal court, permits, and Denton County Emergency Service District.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you'll look at page, I'm not sure what it is in your packet, your financial report. Let's see. Sorry. You know, I always print my own off because I have my notes.
PDF 21. To
22.
22, page 22, thank you.
Right.
Revenues are incredibly strong for the fiscal year. We're almost done with the fiscal year. We're almost 92% through from a percentage basis. I'm a little loud. We are over in every category. And substantially so as far as the total number. So very happy with all of those projections and how they're coming in. If you have any questions on the revenues, please let me know. 23, that's that sales tax rolling average. Again, we had that one little blip. Was that back in March where we had a little concern, and then we've been on a steady climb ever since. It's not huge, but it's continuing in the right direction. All general fund expenditures, again, we'd like to see a little over 8% left in those categories to keep from going over and needing another budget amendment. We are not that way in transfers. Again, transfers are those beginning of the year for capital improvement, and those budget categories, all those funds get transferred over. And that's also the Lantana grant.
Yeah.
So again, when we see the higher sales tax in that area, it translates over here to a bigger expense.
And the tax note will be paid next year.
This fiscal year, this coming fiscal
24.
year, yes, you'll pay the last payment on your tax note.
Thank you.
So we still got double digit remaining in most of the categories. So, all right.
And overall, if we're looking at the total budget number, I've still got 11.82% left. So if we have to do some shuffling to get clean for the audit, we'll still have that available.
Good.
Expenditures by department. Again, you'd like to see 8.33% or better remaining. Overall, I've got a little over or just under 15% remaining in those categories. Shannon got those budget amendments that were approved last time. So those numbers now look like they should look, because that 112,000 is not hanging out there. So you moved that to capital where it should have been. So, and now we project what we really look like on a daily basis operationally. Do you have any questions on that?
Maintenance is mostly what? What does that consist of
Right question. Hang on.
the administrative? Is that like,
Building maintenance or
Building, that's going to be building maintenance where we've had the air conditioners,
the
work
painting of the
done.
building, the landscaping, all that stuff, right?
Most of that is in there. Yes. There's some of that's in capital, but most of that is in the maintenance.
Taking out those photinias or whatever they were.
Yes.
dead
So-
plants?
Yeah, the dead plants,
Yeah.
But
casualties of the drought.
yes. And again, I've gotten a lot of compliments on the way the building looks now, really clean and open. It's
I love it.
it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Go to 26. There's a police department specific. Once again, we'd like to see 8.33 or better. We don't in maintenance. That is vehicle maintenance primarily. We've had the brakes go out. I can't remember what else went out on that one. Air conditioners has gone out. So again, that one's running a little high. We did add money into that category for this coming fiscal year because we're going to order that police cruiser just as soon as we can. But we have some aging vehicles that again, the maintenance is starting to ramp up a little bit. So we've accounted for that in your budget that you'll see.
Problems with the new cruiser, those were handled under warranty, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Any other questions?
No, I was just gonna let Sergeant get some stats in a minute when you're finished.
And then Sergeant, if you'll do the police, but Megan, are you going to do ESD? And if you saw in your packet, it got separated from the ESD report, but council received a very nice letter from the ESD for the support to shown for the organization. So I thought that was really nice. Sergeant, sorry. But it's been a long day. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Sergeant Scudder.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council, Dad. So I'm looking at the August calls for service, I guess, over here. We had 44 total calls for service, it looks like, which was a pretty good drop from last month, it looked like. But I assume because of school starting and all that stuff.
Is that
Yes, sir.
just half a month? Because didn't y'all change systems mid-month?
I was looking at that and I do believe that that's probably half a month because I don't
Okay.
think it dropped that significantly because it
Yeah.
was about 60 or 70 calls.
Cause y'all changed systems about August or the 15th.
Yes, sir. The
Yeah.
15th. So I called Denton County because they have access to that and if it's going to take a couple days to get that back because they have access to it. Which I'll talk about here in a little bit about that. So yeah, I do believe that is half a month because I looked at that and it didn't make sense to me because I don't see it dropping that significantly. I could see it dropping a little bit because school started and things like that, which typically, during the summer we're busier with just, people stealing stuff from Kroger and juvenile problems, stuff like that. Yes, sir. So that's, I do believe that is the case. I can't confirm that yet until I get those numbers from Denton County, but I think so. Next month though, we'll be 100% good because we have that new system and September's fully on there. But traffic, on the self-initiated stuff from the officer initiated, looks like it went up. So we had pretty significant numbers on that. Close patrols were just various close patrols throughout the town. Administrative duty, that's if an officer checks out here for reports or court or something like that, then he'll check out for administrative duty. So that's what that number is over there. Walkthroughs are typically at our businesses. An officer will check out there and walk through it for events or just checking out something, times to prevent thefts and stuff like that. I'm working on getting all of the numbers for the last 3 years so we could kind of change it to where we can have it month to month instead of year by year. But that's gonna, like I said, that's why I was gonna get back to the Denton County thing. They have access to all of that. So I'm kind of at the mercy of them of getting it. But once we get that, then we'll start doing a month to month by the year, kind of how the ESD was. I worked with Megan earlier and I'm going to kind of mirror their graphs. So it's kind of all on the same page. So it's not confusing.
I think that'd be really helpful getting us a picture of
Yes.
the
That's great.
trends,
Yes,
either
sir.
up or down.
Yes.
that'd
So
be
that's,
great.
we're going to hopefully have that by September's meeting. So we'll have that done. I think that's about it. More events, I guess, National Night Out's October 3rd. So that's pretty much everything's done and confirmed. We're having it here this year. And so we've got that October 3rd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's pretty much done. October 5th, the Lantana Community Church asked if we could go over there with a squad car to the kids at they're having like a police day or something. So we're going to just have a little community event there for them. So that's going to be October 5th at 10 a.m. And I think that's about it. If you have any more questions or anything. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Megan, you're up. If y'all want to just go through the report, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if y'all have questions on the report, Megan knows almost everything, so.
So my name is Megan Reynolds and I'm the Public Information Officer for Denton County Emergency Services District, which means that I get to do community outreach and communications for all of the communities that we serve. So Chief Vaughn intended to be here. We caught several calls all at the same time and he's not answering. So I bet that he is probably helping with those. So I'm sure that he will send his apologies for missing. If you have any questions in your packet, please let me know. Off the top, I can tell you that the month of August was a little bit slower for us as well. But in general, and for looking at the entire year, we're very, very busy. So we had 255 calls in August. Bartonville accounts for approximately, I think it's 6% when I was looking at that. And then we have it this time broken down by each municipality. So if you go to page 6, you can see exactly what we're responding to in Bartonville. And again, we can tailor this to any questions that you might have or things that you would like to see. Additionally, we also had a CPR class this past weekend that we offered to the community, and then we'll be at National Night Out as well, which we're very much looking forward to.
Are you going to start doing some kind of educational stuff regarding the number 2?
Yes, ma'am. So first, thank you so much for your support over the summer with your grant. That was incredibly helpful in making sure that we were able to keep everyone paid and finish out the fiscal year. So thank you so much for your support. We will be going to the ballot in November. For early voting, it will be October 23rd through November 3rd, and we'll be hosting early voting at our station because it's a special election. And so that means that voters will need to come to Station 511 on Gibbons to vote for the propositions that are related to our fire departments. We'll also have every station opened up for actual election day on November 7th. And so the three propositions are: one, to bring Lantana into the emergency services districts, just like every other town. And that will ensure that they're paying the same rates that every other town in the emergency services district is currently paying. We're also working on updating their contract so that in the meantime, they'll also be paying the same rates. The other initiative on the ballot is to create emergency services district number 2, and that will be specifically for providing emergency medical services to the community. And so in the meantime, I'm working on information to be able to pass out. I have a consultant that I'm working with. We just started the website today, which Sergeant Scudder was able to help me with. And so we'll be educating the community. And then I also have our Firefighters Association that can advocate for the community. And so we'll be working together as a team.
Thank you for coming and thank you for
Having us.
You do a great report every month. Thank
Oh,
you. It's great. Anything else then?
Yeah, that's all I had unless y'all have questions on the other reports.
Then agenda. This agenda consists of non-controversial housekeeping items required by law. Items may be approved with a single motion. Items may be removed from the consent agenda by any council member by making such a request prior to a motion and a vote on the consent agenda. Number 1, consider approval of the September 5th, 2023 workshop and special meeting minutes. Number 2, consider approval of a contractor services agreement with Steve Kohler for building inspection services beginning October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, and authorize the town administrator to execute the same on behalf of the town. Number 3, consider approval of contractor services agreement with Ryan Wells for planning services beginning October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, and authorize the town administrator to execute the same on behalf of the town. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1, 2, and 3.
And on second.
All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Public hearing. Public hearing on proposed tax rate of 0.173646 per hundred assessed valuation for fiscal year October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, right? Should be 24.
sorry.
That's okay. 24. Thad?
This one, Shannon, is this one you or is this me? I didn't even, sorry, Mayor. I apologize. I was looking at something else. This rate that you've proposed is the exact same rate or for this coming fiscal year is the rate you have now and is the rate you had last year as well. And again, as we've gone through the budget workshops, you can see that we can operate under that tax rate and still maintain the business of the town. Again, per state law, we have to publish this. There has to be a public hearing. And is this one a record vote, Shannon?
When we go into the regular. session,
Once it goes back in, okay. Again, this rate is below the voter approval rate. So if it's adopted at the 173646 per $100 valuation, there is no vote possibility. So even there's no petition, it's below that voter approval rate. So this rate, there is no action available to the residents because it is below that. Again, this is really for your general fund. You have no debt piece. This is all M&O. It's not INS. And we believe this will your valuations for this year. I apologize. I'm dry. The taxable value this year came in at 574 million, just almost $575 million. We're seeing a lot of new big houses being built. My caution here is these builds are taking a long time because of the size of the homes. They're not building them quickly like you see in some of the subdivisions. So it may take a year of construction, then it will hit your tax roll for the following year. So you're almost 2 years in arrears in arrears before we'll start seeing that revenue. So it's something to think about as we're seeing these new things come on. They're not going to hit immediately. So, you know me, I'm conservative. I want to make sure y'all know those things before they hit us. But I'll answer any questions you may have. But again, the budget was built on this number that y'all have seen so far, and that's what we're recommending.
Time being 6:40, we'll open the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Would anyone like to speak in opposition? Time being 6:40, we'll close the public hearing. Regular items. Number one, discuss and consider approval of an ordinance approving and adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. Thad?
I feel like I'm repeating myself multiple times during the budget. We kind of cover that same ground again and again, but that is a great opportunity for, you know, anybody watching online to get the process. And then again, this is not a quick knee-jerk reaction on a budget. Y'all go through this deliberately, category by category, so that you're doing the business of the town efficiently. The budget as proposed, in your packet. Is it the one that we just discussed?
Yes.
Is the one that we just discussed in the workshop? That is incorrect. That one shows 51,000. The one in your packet shows 61,000. It was done at 73,000, lowest salary for police. The one discussed in the workshop is the one we're recommending approval of. And again, that the only difference is it'll have a slightly less revenue available that's not accounted for in any other category. Again, we've done workshops and pre-budget workshops and discussed this at length. Again, I really appreciate during the last meeting, the items that came up that we really needed to address, like computers and the AC units and those types of things, which is part of the reason. I know it means y'all have to meet a little more often with four, but the reason you don't normally adopt the budget during that first public hearing is because some things come up and now we're able to address those. Again, this entire budget is built on the 0.173646 per $100 value tax rate. I'll answer any questions you may have. Sorry, I think I've talked about it so much. I'm not sure what I've covered and what I haven't.
Pretty well covered.
No, I mean, we've talked about it for
3
weeks now.
yeah.
So yeah, 3 months. So there's,
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll move to approve an ordinance adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning on October 1st, 2023 and ending on September 30th, 2024.
Roll call. Thank you.
Chairperson Chapman. Councilmember Sims. Councilmember Crandall.
Yeah.
And Councilmember Aaron.
Yeah.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you all for all your hard work on getting this.
Yes,
Tremendous work. Excellent.
that's a
So
lot
keep
of
us on our
numbers.
toes. So we appreciate that because we can't think of all of it. So I really appreciate it.
Number two, discuss and consider approval of an ordinance ratifying ad valorem property tax revenue reflected in the adopted fiscal year, October 1, 2023 to September 30th, 2024 annual budget. Staff, Thad?
This is the actual ordinance that basically makes everything y'all just done legal and puts it in the statute or in the ordinance. This is by state law. You must go through this process. Is this one also a record vote, Shannon?
Yeah.
And this one is also a record vote, which is why we have to have 4 of y'all here. Again, we think from property tax revenue, we're going to generate a little over $1 million. It's about 107,000 more than last year that we're projecting for the town. If y'all have any questions, I'll answer them, but I feel like I'm saying the same thing and boring y'all. And so I'll leave it to questions. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, y'all know what you're doing.
No. Do I have a motion?
By the ad valorem property tax revenue reflected in the adopted fiscal year, October 1, 2023 to September 30th, 2024 annual budget.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Chapman?
Yay.
Councilmember Sands?
Yeah.
Councilmember Kendall?
Okay.
Councilmember Aaron's?
Yeah.
Motion carries 4-0.
Number 3, discuss and consider approval of a resolution providing the town's consent to creation of the first ranch municipal utility district number 1 of Denton County. Ed,
Mayor, I need to recuse myself.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Councilman Randall.
Okay, at the last meeting, there was an agreement y'all approved after we negotiated with Hines Development folks concerning the subdivision that's coming into the First Ranch area. And so as part of that agreement, there was an agreement for the town to enact or pass a resolution that consents to the creation of the municipal utility district that's part of that subdivision and development going in over there at the First Ranch area by Hines. And so this is simply the resolution that does that consents to the creation of the municipal utility district. It's similar to the one that y'all did a couple of meetings ago concerning the new ESD number 2. So that's all this does is not only consent to it, but has the town comply with the contract. Any questions?
Mr. Robinson, did you want to say anything or?
Just here, answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. No questions? Okay. Do you have a motion?
A second.
All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Number 4, you want to go get Keith? Thank you. Thanks for coming. Number 4, discuss and consider approval of resolution appointing members to the Board of Adjustment, Planning and Zoning Commission, Bartonville Community Development and Crime Control Prevention District. Shannon?
Thank you, Mayor. Let's move to the time. For our annual appointments, we have 13 positions up that expire right now, and that includes a vacancy on P and Z that Councilmember Aaron's vacated when she got appointed to council. So we at the July 25th Town Council meeting, council voted to have Mayor Pro Tem Chapman and Planning and Zoning Chair Gloria McDonald to review the applications, and it needed interview some applicants and also bring recommendation to the town council. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Chapman for his recommendation.
Thank you. Yeah, Gloria and I were able to interview several of the candidates that we had not met before. One of them's here with us today, which is great. Heather, thank you for being here. In general, the recommendations that I would like to propose keep several of our current serving commission members in their positions. And then we have a couple for Heather Head. We would like to recommend onto the Board of Adjustment in an alternate role. We're adding Rick Lawrence to the Planning and Zoning Commission in an alternate role. And the remainders are reappointments for current serving members.
So you're proposing Rick goes from B of A to P and Z.
Correct.
Okay.
So do we need to do separate motions? Separate
I would prefer separate motions because we do have
by
resolutions by board.
By board.
Okay. Perfect.
Any other questions? Yep.
Yeah, I have one more. I mean, since Rick is coming off Board of Adjustments, he is a standing regular member. So do we also need to make a motion to move one of the alternates up, or does that just happen automatically, or?
Siobhan will move up. I believe she's alternate.
It just happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Alternate one will move up, alternate two moves to one, and then alternate two is the new person.
Perfect.
Okay. I just want to make sure procedural.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
You want-
Do we need motions or?
So I need to make a motion by commission and then include each name, correct? Just want to make sure I say it right.
Yes, please do it by board or commission, and then we'll have somebody second when you're done, and then we'll be able to vote.
So I make a motion to reappoint Del Noller, Jim Lieber, and Rebecca Jenkins to the Board of Adjustment and add Heather Head as the alternate position number 2 to our Board of Adjustments. Said it twice.
Second that.
Okay.
Can we vote individually or all at once? All at once, okay, keep going.
I'll make another motion to reappoint Don Abernathy, Larry Hayes, and Pat Adams, adding Rick Lawrence as alternate 2 to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
It moved to. What's that? We vote on each one?
Oh, I thought we were gonna vote for all together.
Oh, I misunderstood. Vote on each one because each one has a motion.
Okay, so let's back up to the first one, which is BOA. Which one's,
Threw hands on that one. We voted.
All right.
Sorry.
okay. So
Technical term.
so did we have a motion on this one?
I made the
He
motion.
made the motion. I seconded it.
All those in favor? Yeah. Motion carries 4-0.
All right.
All right, we're gonna see if we can get through this.
All right. DC.
Okay.
Make a motion to reappoint Jim Langford and Randy Van Alstine to the Bartonville Community Development Corporation Commission.
All those in favor?
This has Dwayne Skrabarczyk.
He didn't.
He did.
He applied.
So there's going to be an open
There's
position
gonna be an
there.
open position.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I just,
It's okay.
there
All
was a
those in
second.
favor? Motion carries 4-0.
I'm
It's
lost.
a mess.
So there's an opening
I
on,
can't hear names.
there's an opening on BCDC, right? Okay.
Do we need to go back?
Do you have it written down?
I do.
I'll get- Okay, we're good then.
Okay. Last one is I would move to reappoint Chris Colbert, Donald Dunlap, and Jeff Grubb to the Crime Control and Prevention District.
And I'll second that.
Yep. All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, council. We have one more.
No, that's it.
We're done. All right. Number 5 is, are you okay, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, discuss and consider approval of local agreement between the town of Bartonville and Denton County District Attorney's Office in regard to distribution of contraband seized and forfeited under Chapter 59 and Article 18.18 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, and authorize the mayor and the town administrator to execute agreement on behalf of the town. Then,
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You can help me if I get it straight, Sergeant. This is an agreement that has been an annual agreement between Bartonville and Denton County for several years. This is dealing with forfeited property, cash or contraband. Again, this basically follows governs both Chapter 59 and Article 18.18 forfeiture cases handled in Denton County District Attorney's Office. There's no cost and there's no fiscal impact to this, because it only deals with forfeited property. So if there's none, the distribution of funds from that. So again, as Ed has reviewed this and we recommend approval. I'll answer any questions you may have.
I don't really have any questions.
Is this stuff, I need to know,
Yeah.
is this stuff that the police confiscate from
Yes,
people?
from any
Like,
activity that they
car
have that they,
Whatever,
yes, ma'am.
Kroger's or whatever they're.
We have a
That
property
anything
closet
that
here.
Doesn't belong to them and the police get it, we give it to Denton County.
Now that is
it's,
It's like asset forfeiture, so it'd be like if someone used a vehicle in like a felony or something like that, then you can actually seize a vehicle to keep, like you seize it, or you can seize houses, properties, things like of that nature, as long as you can, prove that they're utilizing like a felony or something like that, and there's no lien against them and stuff like that. So this agreement is with the DA's office, that they have attorneys that can assist us for prosecution and for filing the correct paperwork So all the agreement saying is, I believe is it 20% that or something?
Yes, it's an 80-20 agreement.
So we keep 80% of whatever seized and they get a 20%. They keep 20% of it. We're basically doing the paperwork and helping us with it. So that's what the contract is for. But yeah, there's no, it would be a seizure as like we were going to keep it for whatever we were going to do, sell it, auction it, stuff, things of that nature. So that's what that agreement's for. It's just they're doing the paperwork up in the DA's office and they get 20% for helping it and doing it. And we get the 80% is what that is.
Explaining that.
Yeah. Anything, any other questions or can I clarify anything else? No, okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the local agreement between the town of Bartonville and the Denton County District Attorney's Office in regard to distribution of contraband seized and forfeited under Chapter 59, Article 18.18 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, and authorize the mayor and town administrator to execute agreement on behalf of the town.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Council. Number 6, discuss and consider approval of an agreement between the town of Bartonville and Newquest granting flock safety permission to install license plate reader cameras on the Newquest property located in Lantana Town Center, and authorize the town administrator to execute an agreement on behalf of the town. Thad?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It took a long time to get here, but we finally have an agreement with Newquest and Kroger as well. We'll talk about that one second. To place cameras in the Kroger parking lot. That is an area where we have no coverage. So if people come through there, their license plates are not being registered if they come out onto McMakin or Jeter through that area. This will fix that problem.
So they will be set up with the waypoints on Jeter, McMakin here coming in, but not from.
That's my understanding, yes.
All right.
Because again, the Kroger owns that centerpiece right in front of its store, and then Newquest owns the wings, if you will. So this piece is for the Newquest. So these will actually be on the sides and probably close to Jeter and McMakin. We'll find out exactly where those placed.
Okay, all on the Kroger side.
Yes,
Kroger
or
side. Okay,
these will be on the Newquest site and the other ones will be a Kroger. But yes, we're talking about cameras across that parking lot.
but not across the street.
No.
Okay,
So this one's for 6 flock cameras. The other one is for 6. So we're gonna have a total of 12 cameras over there or just 6? Okay. All right, same 6. All
Same
right.
6.
Just a matter of placement around.
Yeah,
the
where
access
it's gonna
points
be.
In and out of that.
Yeah,
That's a good
parking lot.
question.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very good question because I didn't know the answer.
any other questions?
Didn't mean to stop you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement between the town of Bartonville and Newquest granting flock safety permission to install license plate readers, cameras on the Newquest property located in the Lantana Town Center, and authorize the town administrator to execute agreement on behalf of the town.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Number 7, discuss and consider approval of an agreement between the town of Bartonville and Kroger granting flock safety permission to install license plate reader cameras on the Kroger property located in the Lantana Town Center, and authorize town administrator to execute agreement on behalf of the town. Thad, once again.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yeah, right.
Again, same 6 cameras, but again, due to the placement, we have to get an agreement, and the way that property is broken up, we have to get an agreement with both Kroger and Newquest. Kroger's a big company. It took a little longer to get that one. That's why the Newquest one, we've had that one for a while, but it didn't do any good without the Kroger piece, because that's where the gas pumps are, and that's where a lot of people enter the center. So this will complete that blanket over that shopping center. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Is the access to that parking lot, the readouts from those slot cameras can be shared with either one of these organizations, or is that?
In the agreement, no, that's for our police use.
Okay.
Should be private information. It's just permission to put
A
the.
lot of
camera.
data available around how many cars, when, and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
license plates that come through. So
The exits here on.
I'll have to look at that, Mayor, and I can send that out as part of my weekly update to see if it's going to cover front and back or only the fronts.
Okay.
Because as long as the fronts are covered, there's no way to get past them, because we have the ones on Jeter and McMakin.
Yeah, Sure.
So it won't matter as much as long as we've got all those entrances covered. but I'll put it in the report.
Thank you.
Motion to move, I'm sorry, to approve the agreement between the town of Bartonville and Kroger granting flock safety permission to install license plates under our reader cameras on the Kroger property located in the Lantana Town Center, and authorize the town administrator to execute agreement on behalf of the town.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
Right.
Thank you. J, convene into closed session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551. The town council will meet in closed executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code. Number 1, Section 551.074, personal matters, to deliberate and consider appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline or dismissal of public officer or employee, to wit, chief of police. Time being 7 o'clock, we're convened into closed session.
Get out of your house, right?
Thanks, Keith.
You're welcome. Really? Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna stop on my way to work and I guess. He was out of town. Parking lot over here. Reading it also. Yeah. So.
Let's be involved with the DNA. Everybody was walking so fast. Learn all the acronyms.
Yes.
Not. Exactly
Whatever needed.
Yeah. Oh, that's 4 months.
Yeah, that's fine.
I live way too close to them, so I'm here. Oh, really?
Fails. You guys don't think be a little. I think it's like. Yeah. I think like. So. We are in the business. Ours has to go in there. I think that's like, I'm pretty sure. I mean, we're gonna deal with it. Say it's. Could be, yeah. It's gonna be. Great. This was back and he said the same thing. Yeah, we go. We had I had 4 windshields smashed out. Yeah, I mean, something that we once said, when I get yeah, right now it's like well, I mean, I was here for Yes. I think they say. We got used to it. So it's not here. It's a double. I get. Right? I'm worried about something. You have the windows up. Yeah.
That new subdivision.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
And the guy just come on the property and it's not sitting there.
Yeah, no, I get it, I'm just saying. You wouldn't like to think I've got some for the big of it. You lost your. You should have the meeting with it. No one can say from the DB level. Yes. I mean, there's a part. We gave your verbal to the way.
Does.
I read the first.
You got this. And they were.
That's a first one.
Yes. And the engineers said.
But I knew about all of this.
All right, it's all.
This is probably this is probably. Okay. Yeah. Since like, maybe it's found subject covered in blood. Oh, I think. Cause I want to. Yeah, because I want the guys covered in blood, they found it, they're out here to see. I got some justice. Yeah, well, we had this year, they're having. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess. I'm about to get on. Somebody. Yeah, because. Yeah, I was thinking that's. Yeah, only, I guess they called it. I guess they don't change, Johnny called them in the rain. Oh, yeah. And so like. I don't know, not too bad, I know they're like, you're tired, so. Yeah, I don't know, but it's not a big question there. Really good. Wait a minute. They're training speed. Well, go through our. Are we staying? We are staying, maybe, so. Door, they don't think they have tax. Just go in there and. I didn't start down there. But it's. You work at the fire department?
No, I do community outreach. I do community outreach.
Okay. She does much better. No, that's not that big one. The turkey barn is, you go to the, yeah, go to the, that big long barn with the turkey one. Okay, actually, so this one. Yeah, it's like your water level, right? Low, it's work right. Yeah, okay. See, some of the stop sign before you go up the rising hill. Yeah, probably gonna go home.
Yes.
That's, you know. Yes. Yes. Well, they approved it. That's part of it. I just-
It is, but you don't have it's part of law. This type of rating.
Yeah, yeah. Prettiest property I've ever seen. He said, they approved it. 1 acre? Yeah. No, it's not.
And his name.
Silly district.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know that. I think that well.
Uh-oh.
She didn't have songs. See there.
Yeah, it's pretty, I've ever seen.
My kids have kids go to this. When the walls was moved on that street. All of that. Fine.
Yeah.
Well.
All right.
Being in there.
See y'all.
Yeah.
Great job. Yeah. Be a baby.
I'm going out here since fine. That's easy. You can.
Number. Right there. But you guys don't have to, once you guys make the vote, it doesn't have to be council, does it? No, we'll straight to the judge. Okay. Whatever we say, is the end of the road. Yeah. You got someone come up tomorrow. We don't have very many meetings. When we do this kind of. I would have to look over what the meeting is about tomorrow. And something that new area, a little bit out here, hollow. And you see the fence? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that it's on the line. I don't think that's a real problem. I don't think that P and Z approved that kind of fence in that subdivision. Yeah, well, it's not, that's the Addison's fence, not theirs. Oh, really? Yeah, so here's what happened. Steele's Road fence? Yeah, the Addison stopped by the house. They got one of our packages last night. So they dropped it off for Lori and, so anyway, they put the fence up because the way they position the court. They said, people, we want any privacy, there's motorcycles racing up and down that 4th Street. Yeah. And that's their fence, they spent, I think, 11 grand to put that up. Because so the developer, yeah, so the developers here, because he was advertising those lots for sale, look out over the pasture. That's not, so the Addison said, okay, so they put a corrugated metal fence, it looks nothing, it's not, it looks regular corrugated. And so now they don't have to do the pasture, so now these people are gonna spend whatever it is. On they said, lot, it's on the lot line, it says 5 foot back. And that's.
Where is this? Is this the half acre in the?
If you go into, yeah, if you go into Hat Creek. And you take the first fork to the right, it'll lead you back in, he goes way back in, get it straight back. Yeah. It's right behind us. Yeah, yeah. We live on Seals Road.
Okay.
So there's a Stony Ridge Road. We've got not use that, they go into that, there's Saturday. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I feel bad for that. So I said, I'll try to get there if I can, but I don't think it's a problem. They're kind of picky about fences. Since that's not part of the new development, I'm not sure that we can do anything about it. No, my understanding, well, he said they paid 11 grand to put that up. I'm sure. And so he ran it, I don't know how many feet a lot. But it's 8 feet tall. Yeah. Yeah. So again, the developers are great because. So the developers been getting after his daughter Lauren, you know Lauren. So he's been really kind of rooting Lauren, that's usually pretty sweetheart. But so he's mad because they can't see the pasture.
But who's right on that?
Well, well, there you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go. That's your super.
And I own the property, what a bunch of people spend like that, and I'm not gonna fence up.
And a new development, we can tell. an existing property, I'm not very. Grandfather.
Right, absolutely.
Because that is, I think the issue is. Like, but you have to find out. I think it has to be back for it, but I don't know. And I'm not back. But it's still, it's very helpful. So. Now. We're gonna be. Oh,
Yes. Yes, sir.
This out. 6 o'clock. So I got 2 months.
I'm glad I'm not having to read any more budget stuff. I was starting to flunk.
Right there. Her Lord.
We got everything, I've got everything in my garage. For,
Time being pursuant to Texas code.
Wait.
Come on, we're not done yet. No, not quite. Thanks for coming, Heather. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye. Nice to meet you. Thanks, Dale. Not yet.
If you want us to.
You gotta leave.
not until you leave.
Time being 7:21, we'll reconvene into open session. You'll have a motion?
Me first. All right. I make a motion to authorize the town administrator to accept the resignation of Bobby Dow as chief of police. Oh, to approve. All right, sorry. I move that the town council approve the town administrator's acceptance of the resignation of Bobby Dow as chief of police. All right.
Second,
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Do we have another motion?
Mayor, I move to approve an agreement with the town of Flower Mound to provide Bartonville with Assistant Chief Wendell Mitchell to act as the interim police chief and to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the town.
I second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, council. Future agenda items? Nope.
Bring the fence ordinance as soon as it's ready, but other than that, that's it.
Okay. Time being 7:22, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Sergeant Scudder had to run. It's they say the guidance academy got struck by lightning.
Really? Yeah,
Oh,
It's not in here yet.
Say that again?
that's academy down here. The school got struck by.
Catherine's place?
Yeah. That one sounded pretty close.
It was.
Yeah.
yeah, that was a pretty big boom.
Check. Thanks y'all again.
Thank you, Thad.
Thanks for your patience, Ed.
And that's still leaving.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Enjoy your dog time.
And it-
Got to make peace with the dog.
I know.
For the size of the agenda, we certainly did.